Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are across this great big world of ours. Um, I'm Kate Richburg, and it's time for our daily check-in here with Creative Connections with Kate. Sounds kind of kicky, I think, right? There we are. And I want to make sure that I can see all of you guys here. I saw my mom jump on. Good morning, Mama. Good morning, Janice. Good morning. Everybody is here and ready to go. Let me know if you can see me, you guys, over on Facebook. Facebook always lags behind a little bit with YouTube, so let's make sure that I can see both of those streams going on. So if you're watching over on Facebook, give me a hi or hello. There we go. I see you. I'm going to see if I can find you guys here on my mobile. Whoops. I thought I had it turned down, but I did not. There we go. And we are good to go. So I've got you there. Everybody's jumping on over there. I'm jumping on over here. And in 3, 2, 3, let me arrange myself. Sorry, 3, I'm almost there. 3, 2, 1, there I am. Good morning. There we are. I'm going to fix my scarf. It looks a little funny. I can see myself in the thing. I didn't even check out my scarf issues. There we go. Let me fix that up. Let me get ready. It's still early. It's 7:33 here on the West Coast in California. I hope everybody's doing well, happy, healthy, as sane as you can be in these trying times. It is, what's today? It's the 18th, so it must be, I seriously don't know what day it is. It's Wednesday. There we go. Alrighty. Do you feel the same way that time is kind of losing its meaning a little bit, that everything is kind of running together a little bit, crazy? So it's Wednesday, March 18th, and if you're watching this live, you know that, the world is in a little bit of chaos right now, but here at the bead table and what we're doing today, a little less chaotic. I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. There we go. So I'm not so far over to the side there. Okay, well, it looks like everyone is here. Look at that. I love it. Janice is over moderating over on our YouTube feed, and Gita, all the way from Denmark, is holding things down over on Facebook, and I see people jumping on from all over the world. We really, really appreciate all of your support. I wanted to give you a bead shop update. We're doing good here. Some of the staff is working from home. Customer service is still open. Chris and I are here in the office because, we're at home together. We can be in the office together. And we're getting your orders out. You'll see more orders. Order confirmations will go out today. Things are still moving here, and we really, really appreciate your support at this time. Orders came flooding in yesterday, which is great, and Chris and we're staying on top of it, so it's great. So please, we do still have things coming in, so we really appreciate from the bottom of our hearts your support of our small business. We also support you just being here and watching these broadcasts and sharing them and giving thumbs ups and likes and hearts and all of that, because it helps get this broadcast out even further around this globe. And I know that there are beaders who are feeling alone and isolated, but you're not so isolated right now with us together right here being creative. So let's get started, shall we? And let's take a look at what we did yesterday and what we're doing today. I see a lot of you, before I get started, so many of you are saying hey and congratulations on our new cat. Yes, in trying times, what do? You get a third cat, and I'll put up a photo. I'll get it up on my phone so you guys can see it a little bit later. But Florence N. Pickles has joined the Pickles, we're calling it now the Pickles Cat Circus, but 3 is it. 3 is it. Mark my words. We're only getting 3. And is she a black cat? Yes. Is she meowy? Yes. Are we having a great time with her? Yes. So anyway, it's all good. What is... Oh, is Cindy saying you bought a parrot? That's awesome. I love it. Our pets right now are super important, right? Instead of panic buying toilet paper, I panic bought cat treats. So, you know, what are you going to do? You want to make sure that they're taken care of. So let me show you what I've got here on, let me widen this up. I had every good intention, you guys, of finishing the ring a little bit further last night, but we cooked and cleaned and rested, so we're still here where we left off, which actually isn't a good thing in this continuing saga. It's kind of like the, you know, for those of you who watched soap operas or used to watch soap operas or whatever, you know, like the sands of time. We're going to continue our ring adventure here. So, okay, so I promised a couple of things yesterday as well. Curtis, I promised you had a question about doing this stitch. So the peyote stitch is what we did yesterday. Let me just recap here. Let me collect my thoughts for a second because I'm thinking about my cats instead. We did part of this peyote stitch ring, and I'll go over it a little bit more and the dimensions and stuff like that, right? But Curtis asked, Kate, can you do this ring with elastic? And I don't think there's any reason why you can't. Now, this is from also from my archives back in the day when I did this piece. I showed you this ring yesterday, and we'll look at it again a little bit more. But this is a bracelet that I did years ago, and the beads I want to show you are 8/0 delicas. That's right, kids, 8/0 delicas, not 11/0 like these guys are. And when things get back to normal, Janice and I have 8/0 on order, ready to go, ready to launch. So as soon as we're back up and running, you guys are going to see 8/0 in the store. And I feel like 8/0 don't always get the love that they should. I love 8/0 delicas, and you can see this bracelet that I've done so long ago. You can see how small it is. My wrist was a lot smaller then, right? I used matte black, shiny black, and then these gunmetal ones. And I made it exactly how I did this ring, right? It's exactly the same, okay? So, and it stretches, look at, see how it stretches. And this bracelet, I swear to you, is, I think I did this back, I'm going to say it's at least 20 years old. There's a little funny space right there, but let me turn it around. There you go, right? So it stretches, and it's on Stretch Magic, okay? And all I need to do is I come in, it still kind of fits my wrist, right? Let me lower that a little bit. But look at how just cool, cool apocalypse wear, right? Which Mad Max character are we going to dress as today, right? But look at, I think it's, and this was just totally random, and then I did this little thing here, so whatever. So it's kind of cool. And the 8/0, and no, the 8/0 delicas are bigger than the size 8 seed beads. It's a big tube, and we'll have them, like Janice says, we've got 25 colors ready to launch as soon as things are back to normal. So this will give you guys something to look forward to. But if you have, I don't know, look in your stash, and if you have some skinny Stretch Magic, and I think I did this with actually 0.5. It's really thin. We carry the 7 and the 1 millimeter here at Bead Shop, but we'll probably have to jump in and start carrying the 5 as well, because this was pretty killer. You know, I really, really love it. So, anyway, so I wanted to show you that. So Curtis, this was for you. Yes, I have done it in elastic. Yes, it does. I mean, I used to wear this all the time in my running around San Francisco days, right? And it looked pretty cool, I think. And it still kind of fits, right? I can suck in my wrist a little bit, right? So it's kind of cool. So I wanted to share that with you. So it's exactly the same as what I'm doing. And the 0.5, Janice is saying we'll carry the 0.5, and I think it'll be really fun to peyote stitch with it, like this, in a cuff, okay? So this is done just the same way as this is done. It's peyote stitch, same thing, okay? I see more people are, yeah, so it's peyote, it's not loomed, it's peyote stitch, just freeform. So it's great to see. I see more people jumping on. I see my friend Francesca down in Texas. Hi, friend. I see you. It's good to see you over through the miles. It's great to see so many people who are jumping in from all over the world. So hello and love to you guys too. I knew you were going to ask what needle I used. You know, I will bet that I used either a flexible eye needle, because I'm trying to remember what I used, because I think I made this when I had my store in San Francisco. I could have only used one of a few things. I could have used a flexible eye needle, which is probably what I used, because the 0.5 is big, not big, but it won't go through a seed bead needle. So I either used that or I used a small big eye needle, right? That's what I used. Because the seed bead needles that I carried back then, I only carried the size 10s, and I think the whole size was too big. But tomorrow, maybe I'll show you a little trick on how to make your own needle. You've seen me do it before, but I'll show you. So remind me, okay? Janice, I don't think it'll fit. I think the tapestry needle, what I needed for this was I needed a needle that had a big eye, but that also was kind of flexible, like a skinny, like, you know, these sharps and stuff are kind of flexible. So I think the tapestry needle, I don't think it would work. But the wire needles I think would, but you can try it. I mean, you know, hunt around and see what works. But we're going to, you could also, if you wanted, and I haven't tried it, but I bet it would work. You know how I make my own needles using Zap glue, right? All you would have to do is stiffen the end of your stretch cord, okay? And that's all you would do. Okay, so try that. I don't know, we'll explore it, but this'll, you know, if anyone tests it out or whatever, report back. But we'll have these, as I say, once we're back up and running, we've got 25 colors coming in, and I think you guys are gonna love it. So anyway, so Curtis, that was for you. Any other questions you guys have, drop in the comments, because I'll, you know, think about them. I can always address them in a future broadcast. But let's get down to business with this one. Now, you know, I've done peyote stitch, and there's some questions about sizing and stuff like that. So yesterday when I sized, and I'm going to talk about it and stitch my little heart out at the same time. So to learn the how I size this and everything, go watch yesterday's part 1. And what I did, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, or those of you who are watching later, I made a playlist on our YouTube channel called Kate's Creative Connection, and it's also, Karen put it on the front page, on the home page of our website. So if you wanted to see this series of videos, all you have to do is click on that, and you'll see the videos come up in order. So essentially, what I'm using, just to recap as I'm stitching, okay, and again, watch watch your that part 1 for more details. But essentially, I'm using size 11 seed beads. Let me get a little tighter in here so you can see. Sorry, I'm trying to run the camera and stitch tiny beads all at the same time. There we go. That might be a little bit better. And I'm using this nickel plated cut Delica on the outside, right? And then these 11/aughts on the inside. Trying to keep my tension as even as I can. And I need to finish this up so it's the right size. So you're gonna just watch me do this. So the way that I saw it at the corner of my eye, someone asked about that stretch bracelet. How did I close it? I closed it, you guys, exactly the same way that I'm going to close this ring. Okay, it's just, and you've seen me do this before. We're just going to zip it up the side. It's super, it could not, whoops, be easier than that. And if 11/aughts are too small for you, move up to 8/aughts. You guys, try your first ring in 8/aughts. It'll be more of a cocktail ring. And you know what we all need more of right now? Cocktails. So it'll be perfect for you. I also want to recommend, while we're sheltering in place, while we're sheltering in place here at the office and stuff, you know, get yourself dressed. And, you know, when I was working, whoops, wrong bead. When I was working from home a lot, when I was doing some freelance work and when I was writing my book and stuff, I was working from home, and I realized that I got much more done if I got dressed. So that's why I also really like doing these broadcasts, is it forces me to be camera ready, right? So I just slap on that red lipstick, put on some earrings, put on a kicky scarf, and you're ready to go, right? So get dressed. Don't stay in your pajamas all day. At least not every day. Saturday, when I'm not here, you know what I'm going to do? Probably stay in my pajamas all day. But I think it helps anyway. But it's hard. It's hard to be isolated, right? It's hard to, that's why, you know, working at home, when I was doing a lot of writing and writing my books and things, I really had to give myself a pretty strict schedule. And I know a lot of us are working from home right now. There's this meme, I think, that's going around on the social that is that you're supposed to call your pets your coworkers, and you're supposed to say what your coworkers are doing. So if all my 3 cats are my coworkers at home, this morning my coworkers tore through the house and knocked over 2 chairs. That's what my coworkers did. Right. So I'm going to measure this. We can see is... Oh, I love it. Francesca, you did a live yesterday in your PJs. Francesca, are you doing lives over from the Makery? Are you making things, or are you just checking in? Because if you're making things, we would love to know that. Francesca has a great, you've heard me mention it before, she has a great making studio called the Makery down in Bulverde, Texas. And she teaches a lot of really wonderful classes there. She has a lot of visiting metalsmiths and stuff like that. I've taken a class there before, along with my friend Tammy Drennan. I don't know, Tammy, if you're on here. But Tammy came with me. Oh, see, that bead is a little funky, so I'm going to take it off. But it's a great place to go. So when we're back up and running, you want to learn some metalsmithing, the Makery is a great place to go. But if you are, oh, you were making things, awesome. Well, let me know, or drop the link in the chat so people can watch you, because I know there are a lot of people here watching. I keep making mistakes. I better pay attention. I know that there are a lot of people here watching who also do metal work and things as well. So that would be fun. It's true. It's the studio that almost killed me. It is true. But don't worry, I'll be back. I don't hold Texas floods against you. It's okay. What are you going to do? It's always an adventure. So remember, you guys, as you're peyote stitching this ring, and as I'm running the, as I'm doing the kind of outside contrasting stripe here, I'm right-handed, so I'm adding my beads from the right, going towards the left, and I only need to add that metal bead on the right-hand side. Okay, that bead is the first stitch in each row. Okay. Oh, great. And Francesca just dropped it over on the chat over in our Facebook feed, but it's makeryarts.com for those of you who are watching on YouTube, and you can find all the info there. Great. Thank you so much. And Mary Ellen is over on our YouTube feed, and she said that she watched your feed, Francesca, and it was great. So I have no doubt that it was. So fantastic. I love that our creative community is able to stay connected through the beauty of this medium we call live streaming, which is great. I'm going to do one more row, okay, and then I'm going to measure this out. All right. So here we go, and this one, and so I'll give you guys a count, and then we'll see what this is looking like. Okay, so here we go. Whoops, go back in there. Am I close? Please let me be close. We're closer. It looks like I've got maybe about 5 more rows to go. I'm going to put it around my finger and see how it's looking. Okay, so I've got about that much more to go here. Okay, and so that looks that's, I'm gonna measure it here around my knuckle. Yeah. Okay, so let me just keep continuing here. And remember, this length that I made, and I may have made it actually maybe just a hair short. It looks like I need maybe just a little bit more than that. But your first one, you know, make your template. Remember, you have to add, and the other thing I wanted to remember, to remind you, when a ring is wider like this, you also need to add a little bit of length as well. So maybe 62 millimeters, which I made this. I should have probably made this in length about 65, maybe. If you do an online search and you look at lengths of ring sizes, a lot of different like metalsmithing sites and stuff have this link, and they tell you what the length of, in that case, the metal, but in this case, the beaded section needs to be to fit the size. Okay, so you can find that information pretty readily right online. I keep using all of these blue beads. So as I was thinking about how I was going to embellish this piece today, and when I finish stitching this, I'm going to show you a few different options. You could just make a plain band, which would look cool, right? I think it would be just kind of an interesting, you know, you can stack it with like some metal stack rings or something. It would be kind of cool to do. But something like this that's a little wider, right? You can add a little more pizzazz to the front. Okay. And so I've grabbed like a button. I'll put them in the shot so you can kind of, maybe you can't see them here. I've grabbed a button. That button's from our buddies over at Tierra Cast. I have this pearl button that we use to close our poetry projects. I also grabbed a brio. I think that's a London blue briolette, right? It's good. So any of those will work, and I want to show you how I would kind of attach each of these, whatever strikes your fancy. Okay, let me do a few more rows and then I'm going to call it, even if it's not quite the right size. But can you see how also, as I am working my needle, I'm using, whoops, I screwed up there, but you know what, I'm going to leave it. We're just going to have one little place. This short sharps needle that I'm using, this size 10, kind of allows me to really jump in there kind of fast and stitch pretty quickly. And as you go along, see how I'm also holding it? Gosh, I'm just adding, you know what? I'm making a mess. I'm trying to think and bead at the same time. That'll just be the place that's kind of goofy. Maybe that's where I'll embellish over the top, right? That's okay. Notice how I'm holding what I'm doing, my work, pretty tightly there, so that I have just a little bit of space exposed. Kind of helps me keep the tension right, and makes me, holds it kind of stiff so I can get those beads in nice and fast. It's okay, it's just like a little surprise in there. This one. Okay. Let me see here. I'm trying to keep my eye also on the chat. Thank you, Janice and Gita, for answering so many questions from everybody. I really, really appreciate that. There we go. And this one. Yeah, the sharps, what I like about the sharp is it's like a regular sewing needle. The eye, I think, is maybe just a little bit larger. Here's my beading needle. I've got one here. It might be just, I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but it's a little, I don't know, it might be just a hair wider. I don't know, but do like Emily does and needle the thread rather than thread the needle. All right, one more row. I keep saying that, right? But let's take a look at this. And that's where I'll do this part where I kind of did the screw ups with my adding those random delicas in there. That'll be where I embellish. So it'll be covered. No one will notice. Okay. So I am at just a hair over, let me zoom out. I'm just a hair longer, which is good. Let's see. Oh, I'm super close. You know what? Shall I just do it? I just need like 3 more rows. And as Janice just typed, she said, we have no place to write, everyone. No place to go, right? Just keep beading. So bear with me. I'm going to make it so I can wear it, so I can look at it while I'm filling your orders, right? And yeah, so the button and or the briolette and or the pearl will be for the top of the ring, and I'll show you how I would decide and add those. Some of those, the holes are plugged. Get out of there. So there's one. Nope. Start with the delica. I heard you. Thank you. 1. There it is. And it's easier than you think. You know, the peyote stitch is just a simple put on a bead, skip a bead, and go through a bead. That's your mantra, right? And turn. So here, put on a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. Done. If you can get through those first 3 pesky rows, put on a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead, you'll be home free. And as of right now, we have a lot of time on our hands, or at least most of us do. So it's the perfect time to tackle seed beads. I saw Emily jumped on a little bit earlier, and was watching Em. I don't know if you're still on there, but we had a nice chat yesterday, a nice catch up. So Emily's doing fine. Brittany's also doing fine. We checked in with her, and all the staff is doing fine. Everybody's good. So far, so good. So we can't complain. Okay. So you'll get your thread management skills down pretty quickly. Let's see what this looks like. I think I put on 4 rows. Maybe I put on 3. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Whoops, and I did that again. You know what? I'm going to take this one off. I don't know why I just keep wanting to put, I just like those delicas. I just think they're shiny. Shiny and pretty. But I didn't want that for my last row, so let me just needle the thread, not thread the needle. There we go. Put that blue one on and go through. Okay. So, let's check. Great. That looks just about right. And I'm going to, when you add embellishment on the top of these, and I'm going to measure this now too, okay? So I said I wanted 62 millimeters, but it's actually a little bit longer, the thickness. And since I didn't have my millimeter gauge, I wasn't quite accurate. But let me measure this. Denise was saying, she was mentioning needles that are called betweens. We use betweens also a lot in hand quilting. Betweens are super short and super stubby, which I like a lot. I don't use them as much for beading, but I do like them very much. So you can see this is almost 70 millimeters. And I think this finger for me, I'll have to measure it, what it equals up to. But this is about 70. When you're embellishing the top though, you use just a little more space. Okay, so I'm gonna add, because it pulls everything together a little bit more tightly, I'm gonna add maybe 2 extra rows, because as you stitch the oh, there's that pesky bead that won't go through. Let me fling it across the room. There we go. As you stitch and embellish on the top, things get a little tighter. Okay. Yeah, betweens, like Denise is saying, they're slightly more blunt, I think. But yeah, we use them for hand quilting, which means when you're quilting in between your stitches and things like that. And again, they're super short, super stubby, so that quilters can really manipulate them fast as they go in and out with their stitches. But sharps really are my go-to for just about everything hand sewing. Now's the time, you know, as we're sheltering in place or social distancing or whatever buzzword we're calling it. It's a great time to sew on all the buttons, right? So get all that hand sewing done. Okay, oh, for crying out loud, I did it again. I just want to add those shiny ones, don't I? And I don't want that last one to be incorrect, so there we go. All right, so let's take a look at embellishing these now, okay, before I close it. Here's our little strip, and this is, now it's about 72 millimeters. So it's actually, 62 was here, so it was a little bit longer than I anticipated, okay? So So it's all trial and error, right? But it's a good place to kind of start with your, and as you move along, you'll kind of try it and see if it works. And again, remember this band is wide, so you need more length when a band is wide. Okay, so if I were doing a button, right, let me turn that button over so you can see the button shank. All I would do is I would bring my piece together. Okay, whoops, you can't see that. I'd bring my piece together and we're going to zip it closed. But I would stitch it in, and maybe I would do it maybe a few more rows before I'd close it. I'm going to turn it over, but see how you can put the back of your beads. I'm going to kind of push those size 11s in there. So see how you can just stitch as you would peyote stitch along. I'd come in, pick up a bead, go through a bead. I'd probably go through that bead and then go around. I'd use that leg as a bead, so I'd go around it. Then I'd probably go through that bead inside there, come up, go around it here, and stitch on back. And then just keep going back and forth. Emily shows it, I think, in her ombre bracelet, right? This is how she attaches her button. So that would work. You can also attach it this way, right? Might even be easier to do it that way if it's long ways like this. And you can just come in and do it that way. So you could do this a little bit further back, right? Rather than at the closing if you wanted. So it was kind of in this piece like this. Okay, so just use the back of this as you would a bead, okay? And just peyote stitch it right in, just keep going. And it'll be pretty seamless. And you'll see Emily do that again in her ombre, evening ombre, her ombre peyote stitch bracelets. So they're pretty cool like this. You could also use it as a bracelet like this, right? And you could just stitch that on in the middle. It would look pretty cool like that too, okay? Let me get a little wider here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this up and then I'm going to add these separately after I have closed this, okay? So let me make sure I'm on the right road here. So I'm going to come in and bring this around and I want to make sure everything is going to match up. So it looks like I need to start. I'm going to grab this bead and I'm going to get a little closer so you guys can see it, but let me position my needle here so you guys can see it. Essentially, let me draw it for you first. Okay, so you guys can see it. It's hard with the 11 knots. So if this is your one side, right? Where your beads have started, right? And here is your other, and then that one's a downside, right? And so this is an upside and a downside, and an upside and a downside. Okay, so basically what you do is you need to kind of line everything up, and you're going to have to line them up as you stitch it. Okay, so I'll come in with my needle and I'll go through this outer one and then up through that outer one. My pen, I'm going to get a fresh pen. And then I kind of cinch it tight as I go through that one and that one and that one, and that one. Does that make sense? And then I cinch it closed. Okay. And Audrey's asking, can you add the button in the middle of the ring and continue to peyote stitch around the button shank? You can. So the button shank would just fall right into place as you're peyote stitching. Okay. So I would probably, you can, depends on how big the button shank is, how you want to orient this. Okay. But the shank will just act like a button, or act like a bead, like the hole through a bead. Okay. So let me get a little tighter and let me see if I can stitch this up so you guys can see it. Let me get a little tight here. So I've come in, I've already put my, I'm going to undo this. So here, and the delicas are a little smaller, right? So it doesn't look like it's sticking out that much. But see how that's the one that's sticking out? So I come in, I bring this around, and I go through that one that's sticking up to the left, and then I go to the right to that one. Now I go to the next one that's sticking out. Don't worry if your threads are coming loose, doesn't matter, we'll fix it in a minute. Okay, so see, I'm going to pull it there. Now I go to this one that's sticking out, that one that's sticking out, pull it tight. And don't worry, it again looks a little bit like the dog's breakfast, like my friend Mary likes to say, but don't worry, we're going to fix it up. Okay. And then I'll go here. That's the one that's sticking out, though it's not sticking out as much because the delica is just slightly smaller. Now watch what happens. I'm going to put this down. And I'm just going to carefully tighten everything up. See that? Look at that. Oh, ye of little faith. Right? So now I'm going to reinforce it here. Okay? So I'm going to take the one that had my needle, and I want to bring these two together. Let me go a little tighter. There we go. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to just go back in and out through that line of beads, kind of diagonally. See how I did that right there? Now watch, I'm just going to push it through and pull it tight. Okay. Now I'm going to fix that same, it's a little bit loose over here. So I'm going to take this stopper bead, this is why you need a long tail. I'm going to take this stopper bead off the other side. If I can see the knot, let me get my trusty awl. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So let me get another, I've got a sharp right here. I got your sharp right here. Put this in, needle that thread, and see where it's kind of wide right there? I'm going to just kind of, I'm going to weave down here, weave up here, pop my needle over to that one, and it's because, again, these delicas, it's showing a little bit of space because the delicas are slightly smaller than the size 11 seed beads. But now I'm going to follow that path one more time, go down maybe a little bit further, and cinch it up. There we go. See that, how it closes? No big, right? Now let me just kind of reinforce all this just a little bit as I go down. You don't want to go too tight though, okay, because your piece will start to warp and stuff. So keep your tension even, crisp, but don't over tighten. Now, to weave this off, okay, and I'm going to go back, down, and whoops, I unthreaded. My thread's getting a little short. So it's always good to have a tail that's a little longer than not, because then you can really bury that thread. There we go. Here. I love it. Mary Ellen's already singing show tunes. Nothing like a show tune to start off your day. There we go. And we're going to back it round on itself like this. So if you change directions a few times, and now I'm going to clip it, and let's wind off the other one. Okay. So here, there's a little bit of space here, so I'm just going to come up. I want to make sure that all of my connections are closed, you know, along the top here. Come on, there we go. I'm the boss of that thread. And I'm just going to go diagonal. See how quickly I can diagonal right through it? Bam. And then I'll do it over here. Bam. And I know you're thinking, well, Kate, you've got some thread left over. Are you going to use this thread to embellish with as well? The answer is no. I'm going to use a fresh piece of thread. I kind of want to stop this weaving into here. See, it's starting to get a little funny. This is where I'm going to do my embellishing though, but I'm going to end my thread off a little further on down the ring because it's starting to get a little tight there. And again, I don't want it to be wonky. So let me just do this. Couple more this way, and then let me change direction. And you don't have to make your ring band this wide. I don't know, I was kind of crazy. I wanted you to see it. Maybe I thought it'd be easier to see. Change direction. There we go. And one more time here. There we go. That thread's buried. It's not going anywhere. Okay. Then we're going to just clip. And there she is. So let's see. Yep, perfect. Okay. Now I've made it it might be just a hair big, but it's going to tighten up a little bit as I add stuff to it. Let me get a little wider here. So I probably didn't need that last extra row, but I don't know, maybe I did. But look at how cool it is. I think it's cool. You could also make a bunch of these, make them even just slightly larger, and you could link them together. Wouldn't this make a cool chain, right? You could do some wide links like this, some skinny links next to it, and just keep adding across. Wouldn't that be a cool chain? I like it. Yeah, my middle finger is, I think it's actually not, it's about the same size, or my pointer finger here. There we go. I can do that with my ring finger on. Okay, so you could make them bigger and have them be a napkin ring or whatever, but I think this is pretty cool. So let's figure what we want to add. So look at this really cool pearl that's in the center. Okay, or yeah, or for my left hand, I could use it for my left hand, though I usually wear my wedding ring over here, but I'm not wearing any rings right now because I'm washing my hands so much that it's irritating to take them off all the time. But so I'm just gonna well, let's look at this. Okay. So this ring, you can see, here's I did this with Delicas. And I added a whole mess of stuff on the top of this, right? There's like random semi-precious, there's Swarovski crystal, there's, I don't know, all kinds of business going on here, right? So the more height, the more stuff that you put on it, the more it'll kind of pull your ring kind of tightly. So I'm just gonna riff, I guess, and see what happens. I don't know. I'll go for about 10 more minutes and then we'll probably call it a day for this morning. But I'm going to cut off 2 more lengths of my KO thread. The board I'm working on is the velvet pad. It's 14 inches long, so I'm kind of using that as my guideline. I'm going to lightly wax it. Okay, right here. And then I'm just going to keep going. All right. There we are. You could also make these might make cool, I don't know, cool earring kind of things. You could stiffen them with, I don't know, there's that stiffening agent you can use or whatever. But I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, but I think chain links would be pretty cool. So let me thread this. Okay. And I want a place to start. So I'm going to start like on this plate where it's a little wonky, right? Because I'm going to cover it. So I'm just going to stitch in. I don't know where. How about right here? There we go. And these button pearls, and I want to leave a pretty good sized tail because I don't know what's going to happen on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to try and find the middle vaguely. And let me put on this pearl. Hopefully this needle will fit through the pearl, and it does. There we go. Okay, pearls in place. Now what? I don't know. I could put a stopper bead, which is what I think I'll do. Let me start with the stopper bead. Go through, go back through the pearl while it's still loose, and go back through a few of these stitches here. Okay. Where is this extra thread coming from? There we go. So see, that makes it a stopper. Still kind of loose. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to repeat that thread path one more time. Let's see if I can do it with this. This is when Emily's size 12s would come in handy. Right, up through the bead. Up through the stopper, around the stopper, back through the pearl. It's getting a little hard on my hands, so I'm going to get there we go, that goes in. Oops. This could also be done with a bracelet, right? Doesn't have to be a ring. This could definitely be a bracelet. And so as I pull it tight, see how this is a lot more stable now. Now I can do anything I want, right? Maybe there's still a lot of room in that size 11 Delica. Let's see what this might look like. Maybe a couple more. This is the button pearl. We have them on the site. We use them as closures for the, yeah, that looks all right. We use them as closures for the poetry bracelet. Do I need a few more to tighten it? Let me see. See how I'm looking at the side? Yeah, if I want these to go all the way around to the bottom. Sorry, I'm out of frame. So I need about 4 more. Let me put a few more on. I know I'm doing a big no-no, putting the needle back, needle first. Let's see if it'll all end in tears. Might. Did it make it? It did. Perfect. I'm going to put on 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then let's see what it looks like. Dragon scales would work. I don't know. Yeah, just do whatever floats your boat. There we go. Tighten them in. I think I was 2 beads too many, so let me take those off. Janice is saying that the pearl button is about 13.5 millimeters. There we go. So see how it goes all the way around like that? Right? And now, how many did I put on? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I'll put on 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I'll go underneath and I'll just find a bead underneath there. See that? That's going to go through. And I'll just tighten it. There we go. So now I've got this line across the top, right? So if I wanted to keep going, I could do one across this way, I guess, to stabilize it. 1, 2, 3, 4. What did we ascertain? 5, 9 was a magic number, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9. And I'll go through that middle bead going one way, this way. And I'll do the other one. I'll put 9 more on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I'm out of frame. We get a little wider now that you get the idea. Yeah, sorry, I don't have a different color pen. Kathleen sitting here on the table with the thread path. Sorry, it's a little off the cuff, but you guys got it, right? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I'll have to put some different color pens here on my table. That's 9. Okay. All right, there we go. And I'm going to bring this around again, kind of getting my needle there, get a little bit higher. And it looks like I like the looks of that bead to go into that one. Again, kind of hard to see, but it's underneath there. And let me tighten it, and let's see what happens. So this gives me some little spokes to kind of work with, right? So I can just kind of continue how can I get that on there? Let me see. Let me see if I can get back up through the center of the pearl. Can I do it? Can she do it? Yeah. I need some smaller beads is what I need. You know, I have some of these, I don't know, again it might look kind of funny, but these are those 2mm hematite cubes. Maybe I could put that on another one of these. Let me start incorporating the blue. Oh, I don't know, I've got these from the other day. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that there. So you can kind of build freeformly. I'm going to go here and I'll tighten it up and then I'll show you guys what we've got. So what I would do is I think that your piece will kind of go through, as we all did, a few of those awkward teenage years. Let me put this on my finger so you can kind of see. But see how I can freeform it, and I could come around with some more stuff here. I could put some little beads here. Let me put this ring. Where's my other ring? So see, you just kind of start to build with whatever you have laying around. I could get some more little things and kind of I don't know, pretty them up around here. So this is a little, you know, it needs a little bit more work, but I don't think it's a bad start for this, especially if you want to get things that are more encrusted. So I'm going to put this aside for the moment. It's about 8:30 on the West Coast. I would love to hang out and bead with all of you guys, but this is going to be an evolving one. All right, so I'm just going to put that guy there. We're going to put this here, and I think I'm going to let that simmer for a while, because tomorrow, you guys, I have a fun project. I'm going to use some wire tomorrow, okay? And wire, I'm going to click back so I can see you guys. And it's going to be a fun, I think, little wire challenge for you guys, okay? So we're going to get back to this, don't worry. I'm going to add, maybe find a few more beads, and we're going to continue. It'll be Peyote Stitch Ring Part 3. But tomorrow, I thought that we might want to get out our pliers and our wire and do a couple of things. Okay, make some necessities. I had a request to do like some findings and stuff like that. So maybe I will do a little bit of wire, what I like to call the wire Olympics, right? And so we'll make a bunch of fun things out of wire. We're just gonna wire, 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 wire. And I'm gonna let my peyote stitch ring simmer just a little bit, but we'll get back to Peyote Stitch Part 3. Okay, but tomorrow is going to be a creative explosion with wire is what I'm going to do with you guys tomorrow. So today is Wednesday, March 18th. I'm glad that you guys are hanging in there. We are hanging in there too. We're all good. Chris and I are going to go work on some orders, send some things out. You know, we really, really want to thank you so much for your support at this time of our small business. Things are still moving. You know, the mail's still moving. Packages are still moving out a little bit more slowly than usual. But don't worry, Chris, from all of your orders from yesterday, thank you so much. Chris has already printed them out and they're in the queue. We're not doing any orders that are priority. We're filling everything as they come in. Do remember, you guys, that right now we are having, I'm going to pull up my newsletter just real quick so that we're all on the same page with this. There are some guidelines on our website that tell you what we're doing here to keep everybody's safe and happy and sound. Okay, so let me just show you this real quick. Like, if you opened your newsletter this morning, you see an emoji of me with my bob haircut. I need to send a new Bitmoji to Drea with my short hair. But we do have still going on right now our National Craft Month promotions. Craft 10, no minimum for 10% off. Craft 15 on orders 50 or more, and Craft 20 for orders $100 or more. Again, we're filling orders as they come in. And I did promise you guys a final cute picture of all of the Pickle clan. So there, I don't know, it's hard to see all these kitties, but there they are. They're all happy and healthy and playing on that cat tree. So there's Oliver up top, there's Alfred over here to the left, and our new lady edition, there's Florence on the bottom. So there it is. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned to your newsletters to make sure that I'm going on every morning. But for now, I will see you guys tomorrow morning, Thursday, on March 19th. At 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, wherever that translates to you guys all over the globe. And do remember, thank you so much for everything. Go to beadshop.com for information on all of this, all the products that I'm using, and you can follow the YouTube channel playlist for all of these creative connections with Kate. Sign up for the newsletter, and we will be back tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay sane, and I'll see you tomorrow.